What's going on, everybody? This is HF Pod. We are here. We are doing a draft. We are drafting the best shows of the 21st century thus far, 25 of them. But before we do that, hi, Brian. Hi, Megan.
I was really worried there for a second that the AWS crash had affected StreamYard, and we just were not going to be able to talk to them. All this anticipation, all the hype, all the conversation in our text thread, all the chat messages that are already hanging out here waiting for us. I was just like, we're just not going to be able to go live, but we're here. It's happening.
There's still time, Brian.
I mean, I feel like the crash was last night, and so the websites that are being affected are still being affected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah, let's just hope you didn't just jinx the whole thing. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. I had today off work. It's like been such peak fall vibes, like pumpkins and mums and baking and apple picking yesterday. And it's just been a really nice fall so far. So I'm good. I've been a little nervous about this draft, not because it's a competition, but I just want to say the pressure to build this list. We want to get it right. And I've just been spending a lot of time thinking about it, and I'm excited about it. I think creating this list is going to be so epic. I feel a lot of responsibility for the archive. I feel a big responsibility to have a really great list. And I mean, we'll get into it, but this list is challenging because there are beloved shows that aren't necessarily perfect musically.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's interesting.
A lot of big context shows that like you wouldn't necessarily go back and press play on, which
yes.
I don't want to give anything away, but that was a huge part of this for me was like, what do I want to listen to again? 25 years, 24 years, 23, whatever years after the fact.
Well, and what is a part of a show that is so good that it elevates it? Like, let's say you have a 40-minute jam that just takes over the entire second set. Is that whole show perfect though? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough job.
And that's something else that makes this hard is that we are now in an era of Phish right now, as we currently speak, where a 40-minute jam can drop in a ho-hum show and the rest of the show is kind of like, but there was this really cool 40-minute jam in there. And that is something that was not the case 15, 16 years ago when the band was still finding their sea legs, but may or may not have been playing some very, very big shows. There's a lot to go through here. I think you're absolutely right. I love your nod towards the historical archive. That is what this is. This is, I'm just cutting through whatever RJ's introduction here was. He's got ad reads to do. He's got all this sort of stuff, but I'm just going to tell you guys, this is not about any of our individual lists. The entire goal of this episode is to present to the archive the 25 essential shows, the best shows, best essential, go back and forth, whatever. These are the shows that showcase Phish since Big Cypress, essentially.
But I will say, poor RJ, sorry RJ, but I will say that best and essential are quite different.
That's fair.
And I think that essential shows like that kind of capture the Phish spirit or that are important listening are different than the top shows that they've played musically.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there won't be a winner because we're all winners. The winners are you because you're going to have a list of 25 shows that you should go back to after this. But I think the winner is Brian for putting this together in the first place. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
These things are my dream. These exercises are my dream. You guys just get to, essentially play house with me. We get to figure out like what it means to actually work at Phish Inc. and what it means for us to like really, be a part of the archive. Imagine this is what we're slaving away at each day,
Well, it is.
Eggs in one corner, listening to Rave Phish. RJ's in 1993, having his head respun as though, 12-year-old at that point in time? No, 15-year-old at that point in time. RJ,
14,
something in that range.
In between, yep.
Had discovered 92 and 93 Phish and had been able to go to those shows. And me, I'm just still back in 2.0 in that zone, in that wing of the archives, just hanging out 36 minutes into the 8/3/2003 46 days. So imagine this is our day-to-day life. We're not teachers or educators. We don't have responsibilities. We just slave away presenting to you all information for the archive.
Imagine that. We just read our books. I got stuck in 2003 Phish big time over this past week. So I get it.
Brian, how is this going to go? Because we have no other intro besides what you have already said, which was, maybe everything, but maybe not. What else do we need to know before we start getting into the action?
So this is going to be an 8-round draft with a bonus round. Each of us are going to select 8 shows independently. And then we're going to make a pick at the end of the draft. What should be the 25th entry into this? Now, one thing that this is not is a list of best to 25th in the way that our top 25 tours was presented. I think that would be an additional conversation that we would have. We are essentially presenting what needs to be on this list. And we have every single show available from 5/21 2000, which was the first full show after Big Cypress, all the way to, if my computer will load, 9/21/2025, the final show at Hampton. Now, there are 4 shows remaining this tour or this year. If for whatever reason Phish plays a top 25 worthy show at Madison Square Garden this year, which
Let's go.
I am
Let's do
rooting
it.
for. All
Yeah, me
right.
too.
We can then reopen that. We can have this be an ongoing discussion, an ongoing conversation. We can have this list update and change. We can work with this. Perhaps in the future, this will be our own annual series. We're still working through Rushmore, but perhaps in the future, depending on where we land here, we will go through this 25 to 1. But we're essentially presenting to you guys our 25 shows that we think are, somewhere in that range of the best, the most important shows that the band has played since they finished the Big Cypress Festival. So we're going to go snake draft. Does anyone have any questions about what a snake draft is? Yeah, RJ, what's your
a
question?
snake draft? How does
So
it
a
work? And how many picks do I get in a row?
So a snake draft works like this. We're going to roll a dice here shortly, and select our order. And then whoever goes first, they get the first pick. Whoever goes second, they get the second pick. Whoever goes third, hold on, this is where it gets interesting. They get the third and fourth pick. And then the second person gets the 5th pick. And then the first person gets the 6th and 7th pick, and so on and so forth. So we go back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, so on and so forth. Any year is eligible, and you can pick from years multiple times if you believe that a year is deserving of multiple picks. Since Phish has not played in the 25 years since 2000 to 2025, they did not play any shows in 2001, not play any shows in 2005, 6, 7, or 8. Certain years will most likely get will definitely get multiple picks. How many more? That's to be determined. We will see what happens there. And then finally, just to reinforce, the goal here is to have us collectively put together the strongest 25 shows that we think you all need to listen to really understand Phish over the first quarter of this century. So we are not in competition against each other. We are collectively working together. If someone makes a pick that we all disagree with, maybe we all go, hey, whoa, what are we doing here? What is going on?
Yeah.
We may do that. But the idea here is support, encouragement. If someone takes a show that someone else loves, that show is now on the list. That show is a top 25 show, and we should celebrate that.
That is.
And I'm looking at myself when I say that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking right in my own eyes when I say that.
This is something.
So, but we don't have to draft from every year. Correct.
Not every, yes, so that's a great question. Not
Yeah.
every year requires an entry. This is not the freaking baseball all-star game where every team, including the Colorado Rockies, get an all-star because we want everyone to feel good. This is the 25 best shows. So if you say X year does not have a best show in it because the years around it or this stretch of time is going to have more shows, we think, who knows, then that is absolutely doable.
All right.
Let's go, Brian. Let's go. You got your 10, you got your 20-sided die or whatever?
Yeah, just give me a second here. You guys fill some space while I make sure that
Okay.
Google Dies weren't affected by AWS either.
I have a today at one point, Megan, in school, I had 3 ninth graders who were like chasing each other around the room and going to the door to see what was happening outside, and I couldn't get them to sit down or do their work, and I was like, maybe I'm just bad at this. So I just want to tell you that, just because that was my thought of the day.
RJ, I know that I've told you this before, but I've been teaching. I think I've been teaching for like 12 years now, and every day I have a moment where I say, "Am I just bad at this?" It is a really hard job. You're not bad. It's
Thank you.
that the kids are bad. No, like we talked about,
Yeah.
they have to meet us halfway.
Yeah.
But I know
That's
that feeling
good.
is rough. It's
That is good perspective. Thank you.
the joy. I feel like teaching is like living in New York. There are really high highs and really low lows. It's like it doesn't get any better than a moment that is amazing teaching, and it doesn't get any worse than a moment that's hard teaching. Like you might have the best moment of your career where you do something you just never thought you could do. You get through to a kid, you teach something in a way that is really inspiring, and then you have to spend the next hour sitting in the cafeteria while third graders eat lunch and they're screaming in your face and spitting food at you. So it's high highs and low lows.
See, that's good perspective. That's what we go for. And now we're here, and it's great. So this is why we do it, to bring you great content. Brian, what do you got?
I just want to say I coached baseball yesterday, and the entire game, the children on my team and the children on the other team did everything they could to turn a conversation into a way for them to all say,
No.
6-7.
6-7. Oh my God. It's so fire.
And by the end of the game, every single parent was laughing, and the kids just kept repeating it. It was
Oh
very
my
funny.
God.
No,
Anyway,
I've been starting to say it in my classroom in an attempt to diffuse the coolness of it. It's not
Yeah.
really working, but I'm
It is.
trying because I absolutely hate this joke. It's so
I read
stupid.
an
My
article that
teenage daughter's saying it. I was
this
thinking
is
to them this
starting to
weekend.
become understood by parents, and it's starting to not be cool. Like, you're seeing it in
Yes.
real time that, like, as we understand it, our kids are like, okay, we're not saying that anymore.
Right. That's my goal. I was shaming my teenage daughters this weekend. I said, that the 8-year-old boys in my class are making this joke. So when you're a 17-year-old girl making the same joke, it's kind of lame. They didn't care.
Well,
They don't
I
care.
started saying it in class, and they're like, "That's not cool anymore." So I've reached
Okay,
the
good.
precipice.
Good job.
We're on the way down.
Ed says that he teaches college kids, and they did 6-7 for me. I told them they were too old for that, but they kept laughing.
No.
Maybe we just all need something like that in our lives.
It is
know.
kind of, it's very fall 2025 core. I'm into it. All right.
All right.
I'm also into rolling die. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
roll cards.
No,
You roll
you
die.
don't
Don't
roll
roll
cards.
cards.
You don't roll cards.
They can't roll. They can't roll.
Megan, what's your number?
2, always.
RJ,
What is it between 1 and 5?
1 and 6.
1 and 6.
On a dice.
5.
5.
Right, I forgot. I thought it was like a number generator
What's
or
a
something.
snake draft? How many numbers are on a die?
Do you have one? Why did you have to check AWS if you're using a die?
No, I'm using Google roll dice. All right. So you did 2, you got 5. I always go 3, and it always gets me with either the first or second pick. So I'm going to change things up here. I'm going to go 6. And it's 5. RJ has the first pick.
Nice.
Megan has the second pick. I have the third pick.
Cool.
All right. So let's just update the master list here right now. And then we will get going. RJ, the floor is yours. The first pick in the top 25 shows
Wow.
of the
This is-
century
Wow.
this is
draft.
something. This
I
is
know.
something.
I feel like David Stern right now.
Okay, so let me just pull up the master doc. I wanted to actually start with an anti-attendance bias pick, like a pretty extreme one because which I'm just going to do because we have 25 shows. I think this should be on the top 25. I think this is of this tour, this is probably the one show on the list of shows that could be on the top 25 that I didn't see. And I saw all the shows around it. This was the only one of 4 in Vegas that I did not see. And I think that this show with the combination of like when the gag works and the music is absolutely stunningly perfect is so rare and so like shocking. And I think I was sad to have like gone to Vegas the day after this happened, but I think that the 10, 28, 21 show should like absolutely be on this list. I think that like you get that first 40 minutes.
Oh my
You get
God.
40 minutes
Unbelievable.
of 2001 and 1999.
It's so good.
It's just like it. Not only is it like musically perfect, it just like it works, right? And then you have this 46 days, which you guys know how I feel about that. Where that's like so beautiful and awesome, and that's like then we're only halfway through the first set. You know, it all worked so well, and then you get like these kind of bust outs and one timers in the second set. I think it's just like it's the show where they tried something goofy and it worked so well on like every single level. And I think this represents musically like maybe at least if not the best of Fall 21. You know, it's a good representation of Fall 21. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's one of those shows when we were, if you're watching at home, it's just so exciting watching it go down. It's one of those collective experiences that we got to go through together. And I cannot tell you how many times I've gone running to that 2001 to 1999. I mean, it is absolutely thrilling. It's so exciting. And the whole show is just packed with great music.
Yeah, that is 100% on my list. For all the reasons you said, the point I just want to zone in on is like when the gag works, because so often the gag is just this thing that is, I don't think you ever want Phish not to do gags. Like the fact that they do gags is a huge part of their appeal, but sometimes the gag takes away from the show. And the gag, similar to another show that will most likely end up on this list, the gag is like filtered throughout the entirety of the show. Every song feels it. Every song is played in a weird place where it like should not be played or like isn't typically featured, and then gets jammed out in a really wild way. Shocking bust outs, shocking debuts. It's kind of got everything. And then on top of that, as you noted, the music just works 100%. Like you re-listen to that show and there's really wild jamming throughout it. It's clear that they have the goal in mind throughout it, that they're going to jam, and you can kind of hear that in the way that they're pushing songs in kind of a different direction. But yeah, I mean, that peak in 20 years later, the If 6 Was 9 that goes like 17 minutes, Two Versions of Me ends up in a jamming space going into NO2. You get a kind of a weird first tube jam in there. I mean, it's just, there's so much to this show. Bust outs, gimmicks, jams. This has to be on there. RJ, starting us off right here. Anything else you want to say about this show?
No, we got 24 more. Let's keep it going. Let's roll.
We got to keep rolling here. Meg, what is your pick? Your first pick here?
Well, I've been trying to listen to a lot of these shows, a lot of the highlights. And last night I was driving back from the mountains and I put this show on and I just listened to the whole thing because it's an absolutely perfect show from start to finish. And it's a bit of a controversial pick for me. I don't think for anyone else, but because I think it kind of invalidates another one of my favorite shows being on the list and one of my favorite jams of all time. But I'm talking about 12/30/18. This show just opens up perfectly. It's so lit up from the beginning. And then you have the way Trey is playing in Mike's song. I looked down and I was driving 90 miles an hour because the hose was just so intense. And then they play Glide 2, 874 show bust out in the Mike's groove. The Weekapaug is completely just so energized and they find Cross-Eyed in it in this just wildly energetic way. And then Trey picks up the acoustic fucking guitar and plays Bliss. Like, I was absolutely dying when this happened in the show. And then they play Billy Breathes, which is an underplayed an underplayed song, I think, in my opinion. Got a great No Men's killer tube that goes back into Weekapog, that goes back into tube. Set closing more. The first set is, I think, one of the best first sets Phish has ever played. It's like a complete show to me. It has amazing narrative arc. It's got exciting moments. It's got debuts, but all the music is so killer. And then you haven't even gotten to the second set yet. Cool Amber and Mercury. Can we just talk about bringing this song back? Like, where is this song? This is the best Caswell Vax song, and I don't understand why they don't play it. They have that, and then this unbelievable Everything's Right jam, a great Plasma jam, a great Light jam, Waiting, and then an unbelievably killer Split Open. And then you have a 4-song encore with the Cavern with the faceplant into rock quotes. Like, it's just such a killer, such a fun show.
Yeah, this is a great show. I was behind the stage for this show, and it just never forget it for sure. What an awesome. I can't add anything to what you said except for that. So the way that second set flows is just so perfect. I mean, the whole show really flows perfectly. It's a great show.
Amazing show. I think it's the second best show of 3.0 overall. It's got everything. That end of 2018, that fall tour was on our list. That's somewhat underrated, it feels like, at this point in time. And then they played a killer show, Caswell box set, the great run in Las Vegas. They played a killer show on 12/29 with a really, really awesome tweezer. And I remember kind of thinking maybe that was the 12/30 of this year. And then they come out with this, like you said, Meg, the bust outs, the segues during the first set. It kind of has that feel that anything is possible. Anything goes tonight. It's got a real old school feel to it. In terms of the standard songs they're playing, but also the bust outs that they're playing. And then, like you said, RJ, the flow of the second set is immaculate. That Everything's Right might be my favorite Trey that I've heard in all of the 3.0 period. Like, his solo there,
Good.
that effect he's using is just ridiculous. We interviewed Ryan Chicheri of Trey's Guitar Rig for the Baker's Dozen season of Undermine, and there's an excellent segment in there where he talks specifically about that solo and the effects Trey was using and how he was creating those sounds and how much of an advancement it was for his playing. I go back and listen to that all the time. I listened to it yesterday morning, and it just blew me away again. The light is super wild, like midway through. This is something that's become standard now, but was totally unheard of on 12/30/18 at this era, in this era of Phish, was like a 20-minute jam on the start of the fourth quarter. That just didn't happen. And
Yes.
here it's like happening. And yeah, I think this is absolutely very deserving. Awesome pick here.
Yeah, I mean, this Lights on our Mount Rushmore. It's just this is just a perfect show. I was there too, and I will never forget that show. Special night. I also had my pancake walking in, and I bought mushrooms from someone wearing a Care Bear outfit, and then I was convinced that MSG security was watching me and flushed everything down the toilet during sub break. But I remember walking up to somebody at sub break and saying, "Was that as good as I thought it was?" And everyone was like, "I think so." Great show.
Those are the best. Those are the best. When you have to question yourself, it was so good, and then you get some sort of reassurance in the crowd. Great show. So we're starting off on like some big shows here, so I can't really go for like the indie rock show right now. What I'm going to try to do right now is slightly reset things with scope, because we're talking about two relatively modern shows, very, very much deserving to be on here. No notes on that. These are on my list, but I also want to make sure that we are getting the scope here. So I'm going to put a show on from the summer of 2000. That is my number 3 favorite Phish show of all time. And a show where they sound unlike they've ever sounded before. They get a lot of inspiration during the set break. It's a fantastic first set, very, very good first set. But the second set, I don't think there's really any show that has better flow, regardless of set list, than this. I don't really like air travel, and I listen to the second set every time I fly. It's like the thing that cools me down, that calms me down. This is as close as Phish has ever gotten to like presenting a set infused with the music of Brian Eno. And I'm talking about none other than 614 2000 from Fukuoka, Japan. As Rob Mitchum talked about in his series on Phish 2000 this summer and fall, this was kind of that different direction that Phish could have gone in post Cypress, and we hear it in fits and spurts throughout the remainder of 2000, but we don't really hear it being this dominant style and sound that takes over. And as a result, I think we lose a lot of the inspiration that was happening during the early part of June, especially the Japan run. And the band just sounds very kind of bombastic and very groove oriented, which I really enjoyed, but not really trying to tackle new and challenging music. This show is kind of this, what is the other pathway for Phish post Cypress if they don't break up, and if they kind of figure things out from a health and stress standpoint? Like, could they have sounded like this band? I don't know, but whatever it is, I still remember the first time I listened to this this set when I got it for Christmas 2001, and being like, well, this is a completely different band than I expected I was getting into, and I'm amazed by it every time I go back, and I go back fairly often. Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, definitely on my list. One of my favorite Phish shows of all time, too. I mean, this is the sexiest Phish show of all time. They've never played a show this sexy before or since, and the flow, like you said, is just unbelievable. And the gumbo in the first set is something I go back to. I love it. It's incredible, and the twist is one of my favorite Phish jams of all time. Just unbelievable show, and so fun to hear them play with silence in the way that they do here. And every time they play a jam that has a little bit of silence, or that they're floating in that space and playing with patience in that way, I'm always reminded of this show. And I just always want them to do that. So had to be on our list.
Yeah, I got nothing to add really. I mean, I listened to it this weekend, and I've listened to it, I don't know, 100 times probably. It's still like, to me, like, I think everything that both of you said is absolutely right, and I think this is like a top 5 show of all time, so definitely should be on there. It's not like my favorite Phish show, and it's not. I'm not sure why, because I've listened to it enough times that it's not a fluke. It's just sort of like what I go for in Phish, I guess. But I do think it's the quiet kind of the quiet intensity is something that's very unique. Like, it's a very unique sound.
It's a vibe, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, great show.
Yeah, and it's such a millennium sound. Like, this is what Radiohead tapped into with Kid A. You said it perfectly, guys. Like, the playing with silence. I think that's for a while it was kind of an underrated trait of Phish. Like, 2.0 doesn't really play with silence. Early 3.0 is like kind of just like they get to a intensity and they just like keep it going. You think about like how What's the Use has evolved over the last 10 years, and a lot of their jamming style here, they jam a lot more in silence now than they did, for a good chunk of time there post 2000. This show, it just, to me, like, it feels like there's a bridge from here to some of the jams that we've listened to over the last couple of years. But at the same time, how do you ever recreate being 37 years old and, still in the peak era of your band in Japan, drinking mushroom tea, playing to a room of like 300 people? Like, that's not really something we're going to get again.
I mean, we could, but I don't think so.
We could. I would be very into it. Okay. I've got one more pick, because this is how a snake draft works. I get 2 picks. So I am going to, if I let this go too long, this is a show that has to be there, and I'm excited to present it to the group. A show that goes by a couple different names. But the only thing that really matters about it is that it happened and it completely changed fishery. And I don't think that we have modern fish in the same way that we've had them for the last 13 years and have been very lucky to have them. And that is 8/31/2012, the Fuck Your Face show, Dick's Night 1, 2012. I think we can all agree going into this run, Fish was playing much better than they had played in the previous 3 years. The development was happening. You can hear it throughout the end of 2011 and especially the summer of 2012. But this show is kind of like a very rare, there's before times and after times. And after this show, things were possible that were not even conceived of or considered prior to this. Expectations for what was going to happen at a Fish show suddenly were raised in a really just important and impactful way. You get fall 2013 as a result of this. I think you get summer 2015 as a result of this. The Baker's Dozen, essentially everything leading up to the 4.0 break, where they came back knowing how to do this stuff and ready to apply it much more aggressively. But here was kind of the kick in the ass that the band needed. I'll never be happier with Trey than I was when he put his guitar down at the end of Undermine and didn't play like Golgi or Susie Greenberg or Character Zero. Like he followed the script, he did exactly what he needed to do. The gag stuck. Speaking about a gag that lasts through the whole show and works, the gag stuck. The jam was exactly what you needed to like have everyone leave on a high note. Talk about a show where like in the mezzanine area, people were like, "Is this as good as I think it is? Oh my god!" And like you had enough people asking that, you're like, "Okay, this is epic stuff." So 8/31/2012. We've talked about this show a lot, but I'm sure you guys have thoughts as well.
Classic show, important. I think it sets a kind of a flag in the ground for what Fish is going to do at Dick's, and Dick's just becomes such an important part of Fish history. And this is, sort of towards the beginning of that, and just to me, a real statement on thoughtfulness and generosity to fans and like playfulness and such a nod back to who they had been, but in a more sophisticated way. And I think of, 10/28, what we were just talking about, the Vegas show, that wouldn't have happened without this Fuck Your Face show. Like a million shows like that wouldn't have happened. The Numbers show, the Animal show, all these shows, even the Reprise show, like none of these shows would have happened, I think, if it wasn't for the Fuck Your Face show. So I think to me, it really established a tradition that has been really impactful in the band.
Great connection to the Tweezer Reprise show, because that like those are like one and the same in a lot of cases of just like we're going to throw the set list structure out of the we're just going to mess around and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, so many of those jams in that show are all-time jams. I mean, that Undermine groove is like one of the coolest things I've ever heard Fish do, and that's one of, I don't know, 6 or 7 best ofs, from that show. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I was looking at the Fishnet ratings, and it's interesting because there's so many 3.0 shows that are ranked higher than this, which I just think is strange. Just in terms of average
there are
rating.
many.
They're like we'll get into some of them, I'm sure, but I think this is like a top of. I think this is probably the best show of 3.0. I think you think that too, right, Brian?
I would have this, and then 12/30, 18, and then probably another show that we're going to talk about here in a second. I want to shout out Jackson Richards. Great comment here. The show literally has a farmhouse Alaska in the middle of set 2, which is one of the best kind of cell phones that happened during this show. The set listing shenanigans where the band was kind of playing with what people knew as set list pairings in early 3.0 that did not work at all.
Yeah.
And the band was kind of like, messing with us while they were delivering a show for the ages. That sort of reciprocal relationship was another one of those things that like really went away in a lot of a lot of 2.0 and was slowly being built up. We talked about it whenever we talked last about 8/14/2009. I forget, was that for Iculus? Yeah, that was for Iculus.
Yeah,
We're talking
Iculus.
about that show and like rebuilding that back and forth relationship with the band and the audience. And like a show like this happens because of a show like that in some cases, and it builds towards everything you described there, Meg. That's a great call. Glenn Russell here. I had this same experience actually in the venue. At the time, I knew that they spelled "fuck you," but zoned out in set 2 and thought that that was the end of the gag. Wasn't until they played the song "Fuck Your Face" that I was clued in. Duh.
Yeah.
My brother texted me during Chalk Dust and said, "Emotional Rescue next," and I was like, "Why? Like, why is that your call right now?" And then they played that, which was shocking, and I had like a 50,000 caps, exclamation point going back to him, and then I realized why they were playing Emotional Rescue after Chalk Dust Torture.
What a great like time to kicked off so many things, like you said, Brian.
It did. All right. We got to keep moving because we've got 21 more shows.
So many.
So many shows.
Just do the
Meg,
rest, Meg. Just do the rest.
Just do it all. We'll just hang out and comment.
Okay, sounds good. I've been tempted, do I start like recently and then go back, or do I start at the beginning and go up? But I think there's a show that I just this period in Phish history, I got so into it when we were doing the top tours. And obviously I know, like, Brian, you're such a 2.0 stan, and it was really an underdeveloped time for me as far as like a Phish fan. And I listened to so much of it during that, and I just fell in love so hard. And I really had a hard time because there's so much good 2003 Phish that we need to have on this list. But the one that we definitely need to have, I think, is 2/28/03. Obviously, we need to have Nassau. We have, Monster Gin in set 1. We've got Sleep. We've got Back on the Train, Type 1 jam, but it just rips. And then this huge bust out of Destiny Unbound. And then you got a 5-song second set. This Tweezer it's just a perfect jam. I mean, we've talked about it, but it is just absolutely perfect. And then you've got this fun bust out of Soul Shakedown Party, a 19-minute Bowie. I mean, this show is, I think, just a legendary show and it has to be on our list.
I was looking back at my I have like a list of my top 25 Phish jams of all time. This is the only show that has 2 entries. Which was surprising to me. I didn't realize that until I went back to the list, because I was like, where do I have these 2 things ranked after I listened to it? And I was like, I mean, there's just nothing else really to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if this show had happened during Twitter, we would have actually broken Twitter.
Totally.
I'm pretty sure someone would have to confirm this for me. Maybe I'm just making this up in my head, but I'm pretty sure that this put the Fantasy Tour forum like out of commission for at least a half an hour when they started playing Destiny Unbound. I think it's like there've been a lot of big bust outs since Destiny Unbound that have trumped the number of shows, but Destiny Unbound, when I first got into Phish, was this "you'll never hear it" type of song, and the band hates it, and they're never gonna play it again. And people were, there was the Hampton Haleys moment, and there were shows where like people were bringing signs, and it just was never gonna happen. And here at the end of the first tour since 1.0, in a venue with so much Phish history, they throw it as the second song of the show. And then it's not even the reason people remember this show 20 some odd years later, like 22 years later. It's crazy. Like the reason why people ever remember the show is because of the Tweezer, which has like 16 minutes of uninterrupted hose without like a single wrong note. But then also, like you said, a 12-minute Back on the Train that does some wild stuff. 5 shows in, we've got 2 shows that feature Type 2 Back on the Train. So if anyone's looking for themes here, what we're covering. The Bathtub Gin made our Rushmore list. One of the last Type 2 Bowies, a Type 2 Soul Shakedown Party. And then the first set, like it's kind of a perfect. You get these great breaks with horn and with sleep. The second set is really spacey and kind of zoned out. You get a 3-song encore. I mean, it's really, really special fish. It absolutely has to be on this list.
God, when I was listening to it after that Tweezer jam and they start playing Soul Shakedown, it is just such a boss move to play that song after a monster jam. Like if you want to know when you should play
Which
that
is a huge
song,
bust out in and of
that's it.
itself.
And it was a huge bust out too, but it was just, it's so like, it sounds so awesome. It's just so celebratory and it's so perfect. And this is like when, you know, Fish is using bust outs. Like it's funny because so many of the shows we're going to talk about, the way bust outs are used, like in 12/30/18, it's just, it can really elevate a show when it's done well.
That's a great point. Like if it is the reason that you're going to, or you're celebrating a show, there's not as much foundation there. But if it's something, it's like a really nice house that has an amazing gutter system or amazing shutters or an amazing patio. You know, it's an addition to the house. A bust out cannot be a house itself.
I was not expecting that metaphor. That's an interesting one. I wasn't that's a good one, Brian. I like
I'm
that.
just trying to think about like what makes a show, you know, a
The
big
gutter
jam.
system.
I mean, haven't you seen like a really nice gutter system, like a rich person's gutter system? Like they're great. That shit ain't getting any leaves stuck in there. Are you kidding me?
That is interesting.
One quick question here from Incredible Perp, who we have to address is he gets to ask any question throughout the show. It's okay.
Trey? You mean
his
Trey?
role. Yeah, Trey. Just tuning in. You can listen in no particular order. Correct. We are just selecting shows as our turn comes up. We have not ranked these 25-1 in any way. Because I'm sure that as we work through this, there will be some shows that would probably be in a top 5 per se that are being picked in later rounds. But at some point, we may go back through and redo this. We'll see how it goes. Anything else that we need to say about 22803? I love how there's like only 15 seconds of video footage from this show on the internet. The only footage is from the top upper deck behind the stage during the peak of Walls of the Cave. Nothing else. At least that I've ever seen. I've searched so many times. There's nothing else. There's not even like a hint of the crowd losing its mind during Destiny. There's not like a great shot of Trey just crushing his solo in the Tweezer jam. It's just like, and then it goes out.
I mean, 2003 was kind of hard to tape things.
It was.
You know?
Yeah.
Took some effort.
Yeah. I mean, we have, you know, we're going to, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. All right.
Is 22803 still the best show since 22803? I think it's a better show than the other shows since it that we've picked thus far. I think that we should ask ourselves this question every time we make a pick.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. RJ, you get the 6th and 7th pick in the draft today.
6, 7.
All right. Well, this one is attendance bias, but I think this is, I don't know. I think there's only a few shows from this year that I would put on the list. And I would probably choose two from this year to put on my personal list, one that I was at and one that I was not at. But just, I think this is the most fun Fish show I've ever been to. If you want to, like, I'm not sure there's, well, maybe since 2000, maybe since another show from 2000 that we'll probably talk about. I'm not sure that there has been a more fun Fish show than this one, maybe except for the one that just happened at SPAC. Okay. One of the most fun Fish shows that's ever happened. Certainly the most fun that I ever had at a Fish show was the full set Tweezer Fest. I think that really truly brought the house down at Merriweather Post in 2014. I mean, the only reason that I hesitated a little bit is there's not really like there's a tweezer jam in the tweezer, which is great. But the way that this show came together in the second set with, 10 different tweezers, but then the jam into Hold Your Head Up, into Jennifer Dances, and just like the whole spectacle of the whole thing. I mean, it was the most fun. Like, I was with a couple people who had never seen Phish before. It was just like, seriously, what is going on? And like, what is this? Like, what is this? And I think it's like the most fun that I've ever had at a Phish show. And I think I hope that everyone else feels that way. I don't know if this is a controversial pick, but I think out of 2014, which is, kind of an up and down year, like, this is it's just so fun. It's just so fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one thing that Phish is kind of known for that they've done at special moments throughout their history are these Segway fests. And this one is incredible. I mean, you have things like Catapult and Jennifer Dances. I mean, you have really wild stuff in this set. And when Phish feels this wild and free, it's game on. You just never, it's so exciting. And watching that happen in a year like 2014, I mean, I think that's one thing that's really cool about this exercise, is just seeing that you have a year like 2018 or 2014, and you're going to have an absolutely banger show in it sometimes. And it's just so exciting. And I think this show is thrilling.
I really wrestled with this show. I don't think you made the wrong pick. I think that this show, for everything you just said, is absolutely true. This was one of those shows, especially in the summer where you had a lot of like up and down shows. This was one of those just unanimous. Everybody lost their minds. Like, it was one of those shows where like you would have this happen on like at its peak on Phish Twitter, where everyone online was talking about a show, and like the people in the venue couldn't get on Twitter because of like, over data usage type of thing. And then like 40 minutes after the show would end, 30 minutes after the show would end, you'd start to get tweets from people who were at the show, and you'd like realize that like at home and in the venue, everybody had the best fucking time. And this show definitely had that. And it kind of carries, along with one other show, it kind of carries a summer tour that doesn't fully live up to what we experienced the year before. I ultimately had this on my honorable mentions, but I think we should still let RJ keep it. We should still keep it on the list, right, guys?
Yeah, we can keep it. Yeah, I didn't have it on my list either, but I fully support it on the list.
Wow. But you guys are so nice.
Well, you went with
Thank
an
you.
anti-attendance bias pick that you like knew for round 2 you were gonna then come in
Go
with
hard.
your attendance bias pick. So like I can't disagree with your strategy here.
I like
It
that.
definitely does make a good case though, like something we've talked about, like, does a show have to have a type 2 20-minute jam to be on this list?
Right.
This whole second set is basically a jam.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's songs, but this is like in the vein of Summer 94 playing, where it was just like, rather than go to the jam, we go to the next song. And it's just like, how do we get there? And like, how does that, like, when this band is singing, what is the song that they end with? The acapella song, I've Been Around.
I've been around, yeah.
And they're like walking off the stage, snapping, like the fucking
I mean,
smiles on those guys' faces. Oh my God.
Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Okay, so I think I'll do that was a little bit maybe off the path, but I still think it's totally worth it. I guess for the next one, I'll just do a softball for all of us. Just I'll give this to you, Brian, as a gift. Because I like you. I think this show Brian and I had a wonderful time at this show. I'm just checking the numbers here. It's 3, 4.5. Yeah, so we got about 6 hours of music for this show, which I think is probably the most out of anything on the list. Maybe there's one other that maybe is close, but what an amazing weekend we had, Brian, didn't we? Didn't we have an amazing weekend?
It is one of the best weekends of my entire life. Whenever I'm sad, I think back on this weekend and the weather and the people and the music, and yes, even the vibes are
Even the
everything I would
vibes.
ever want. Yeah, continue, please.
So we had a daytime set, 8:22:15, which was fun. It was fun to be out there in the sun for a set. Probably the last good Run Like an Antelope played, maybe not, but it was it was a really good daytime set. We had a break, and then you get this second set with remember the week before at Merriweather when they played that 46 Days into Bug that had that
Oh, I
great
do.
jam.
Oh,
And
I
that
do.
this 46 Days into Numberline, it just like they were feeling 46 Days at that time. And then the Tweezer Caspian is, I mean, what else can you say? But then you have another set with a really awesome Blazon. I mean, the City's Light combo is great. And then like we sat around for a little while. I don't even remember what happened, but then we had the Drive-In Jam, another hour of awesome music. I mean, it was just what an incredible day, but also that 2015 sound during that Tweezer Caspian is kind of the peak of all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was on my list, and for all the reasons you said, just an amazing. This is in large part what Festival Fish is a full immersive day-long experience where they are the centerpiece, but there's also other things possible, conversations you can get in, art exhibits you can see, good food you can eat. There was great beer there. I feel like they had like Maine Beer Co. on tap there, which was just phenomenal. The only negative was when I walked in for set 2 and someone stopped me and looked through my bag and thought I was bringing in like a giant thing of edibles or some drug, when I was just bringing in my wife's like nutritional pills because she was 32 weeks pregnant at the time, and I got into almost a fist fight with the security guard, and I'm like, I was rescued because my wife came by and she was clearly pregnant. They're like, okay, we understand, go on your way. That was the only downside to the entire evening and day, but aside from that, it was exactly as you're talking about, and the music was amazing. I still go back to this third set all the time. Those jams, they're not as long as we get nowadays, but man, there's so many ideas in there. The 46 Days with 2 versions of me jamming, the Tweezer Caspian. At the end of Caspian was very much similar to the Dix Light, where everybody had hands up, hugs, high fives. It felt like you'd won the World Series. And then the Drive-In Jam, cool, late night, creepy Fish at a festival. It was the only time I ever experienced a late night set, and I'm so thankful for it.
Had to be on the list. It was definitely on mine. This is, Magnaball is a massive moment of like regret for me. There's few times that I feel bad that I didn't do something. It's like Big Cypress and Magnaball basically, but yeah, it had to be on there. Incredible. There's so much good summer 2015, but this one is the best.
This one's so good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 8:22:15 on the list. We will do a recap when we get to number 10 here. But before we do that, Meg, you need to make the 8th pick of the top 25 shows since 2000 draft.
I'm going to go recent just because I love that we're talking about a Tweezer Fest from 2014. And I want to talk about a Tweezer Reprise Fest from 2025, because I think you got to have one of the best shows of 4.0 on this list. It just happened in July. How exciting is that? Just this band is so evolutionary and relevant and constantly surprising us. And here we've got this incredible show at SPAC. The 5th out of 5 just unbelievable shows to close out this summer. I cannot believe the shows that ended this summer tour, and to end it with this kind of capstone here before they close up for a few weeks before they go to Dick's. It was just, or would go to Dick's. It was just thrilling. And I think watching this unfold and watching everyone be so happy about it, it was just one of those moments that you're just lucky to be a Fish fan for. Incredible.
5th highest rated show of all time, according to BG in the chat, which is, I think, also accurate.
There's a lot of recency bias on those Fish.net ratings, but yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Definitely one of the best shows. of the
Yeah.
21st century for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, unquestionably.
Yeah. I mean, it just
Yeah.
happened and it was an instant classic. That's what they say. Instant classic.
Exactly.
You knew it in the moment. Just them playing Tweezer Reprise when they did to kick off the show, you knew something was up.
Yeah.
And then it just kept coming back. And then it started jamming. And then other things started jamming. And it flows so well. Like it's just really, really, really epic.
And there's like good big jams in the show. That's the other thing. It's like
Huge.
not just a gag show, but then the best jam of the whole show is out of the gag song. Like how fucking cool is that? It's just awesome.
I also just think it's worth noting that, like, Phish has not been great recently about tour closers.
No.
And
Yeah,
I think that's
totally.
it's worth noting that, like you're not always going to get like something like this in a tour closer, and that's fine. But when it happens now, it becomes like, even more meaningful.
One of my favorite moments of this show is, they open with Buried Alive, Killer, Tweezer Reprise. Oh my God, Tweezer Reprise is jamming. How cool. And then that finds its way. I think it should be a direct segue .net, but it's currently just a carrot into Reba. And then you're like in Reba land, and it's all composed, and then it, has its own jam, but it's very much stuck in, it's Reba. And it's really like one of the most pleasant places you can be, like 3 songs into a Phish show. But like you're kind of start to forget the Tweezer Reprise madness. And then right as they build towards the end, Trey figures out how to go back into Tweezer Reprise
God, that
out of
segue.
Reba. Like
So
that is
good.
just that's so incredible. And then you get that like 6 more times. I love this show. And then you get a Tweezer encore. A
I know.
5-minute Tweezer encore. Yeah, I think that there's a argument to be made that all of the shows from SPAC could potentially be on this list. They were that good. It was such
I
an
know.
amazing end to the summer tour, as you said, those 5 shows to close things down. This one, though, this is one of the special ones. This is it's rare to get a show like this.
Just happened. So exciting.
It just happened, and it's amazing. All right, I guess I got to go.
Yep.
So I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I think what I'm going to do is a pretty obvious pick, but one that I don't think we can do this list without. We are focusing a lot of time and attention right now on shows that are just clearly like tent poles in the last 25 years of the band's history. And I don't think that what the band has done in the 8 years since this show happened can we imagine happening without what this show was capable of doing from a hype standpoint, from a messing around with the audience standpoint, from a musical expansion standpoint. And we also are just going to absolutely have to have a Baker's Dozen show on this list. And so I'm taking 7/25/17 Jam Filled Night. We just talked about this show in part because we featured the Cross-Eyed and Painless as one of our Rushmore picks. But, this show, like, it's the only time during the Baker's Dozen that the band released the donut before the day of the show. They were trying to sell tickets, and they knew that if we tell everyone we're going to jam, they're going to buy tickets. I'll just share this story once again briefly, but I was leaving a job and I'd set the end date for that job of Wednesday, July 26th, 3 weeks in advance of this. And Phish announced Jam Filled Night. And my wife looked at me and said, "You should go. You should not worry about the last 3 days of your job. It's okay. You have another job. You're going to be fine." And I was like, "Nope. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to work these last 3 days for this job, even though I basically done everything I needed to do." And then I tuned into the webcast. They opened with Sample, and I was like, "Okay, they're not going to go crazy tonight." And then they jam Sample, and then they jam Lawn Boy, and I was like, "Fuck, I can't make it to New York on time." So I should have been there, should have done this show, and I just didn't. And all the same, it is one of the best shows of the last 25 years. The jamming is wild, and just the idea of Fish playing two 20-minute jams in the same show, let alone two near 30-minute jams in the same show, was not something that anyone would have anticipated prior to this show. It just wasn't realistic based on how they were playing. And then after they played this show, there's just so many more options that they have at their disposal now. So good stuff.
Oh, the Baker's Dozen. Always be so close to my heart. It's the reason I'm sitting here. This show is so, like, there's so much Fish lore out of this show. I think so many jokes have been come from this show. Like, is this still Lawn Boy? I just think my friend, would it have come back and become the jam vehicle that it is if it wasn't for this show? I don't know, and end of session debut. I mean, it was so exciting to watch this show. I saw the first, the middle, and the last Baker's Dozen show. And this one I couldn't go, but it was just so fun to watch it from home and just know what was going on. And it's just, even just thinking about the Baker's Dozen is so thrilling. I'll never forget what it felt like to walk into the Baker's Dozen.
Yeah, every night you walked in, you were just like,
what? Like, how cool is this band? Like,
Yeah.
why are they doing this for us? Like, it's just so incredible. Like, it was just so inspiring.
This was one of, I think I saw 4 Baker's Dozen shows. This was not one of them. So, that happens. But there's so many moments, like the jam, and just like when they go into the Sample jam, the crowd, and then when they go into the Lawn Boy jam, the crowd noise. It's just an iconic moment. Not to mention the fact that, like you said, Brian, the jams are awesome. It's a great show. And man, what an amazing like just experience for people who were there. Wish I was not one of them. So it's great. So happy for everybody still.
I need to give a nod to 2 of our best listeners here. Jackson Richards, Ev Dude. I actually like 72617 even better. I do too. I definitely thought about including that here and selecting that in this spot. I think when I ultimately thought about this list from like a archival picture of who Fish is, this one has to be there for so many reasons. But if I'm going to select a show to listen to, it's going to be 726. The flow of that show is just remarkable. But I may be not as brave of a man as I should be, here in selecting Jam-Filled Night over Powder Night, which has the best encore cover I think I've ever heard the band play.
Yeah, I think this was my pick over Powder, just because of what you said. I think we are really trying to put our own personal preferences to the side and choose what we think historically is right to have on the list. It's not easy.
It's not easy. And like that, I have to go into my 10th pick here, my second pick, just so you guys know. A snake draft works where I get 2 picks, and then Meg gets 1 pick, and then RJ gets 2 picks, and then Meg gets 1 pick, and then I get 2 picks, and always Meg gets 1 pick, just 1 pick at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that, and I'm with you. So I don't know who you're telling this to. But,
I'm telling this to the audience just so that they know.
Great.
1 pick.
It's an ongoing. It's an ongoing bit, a wonderful bit that everyone loves. Still,
just endless. Still. All right. So I've got. I think I'm gonna keep this kind of thing going where I'm working my way from the past forward, and then maybe I'll work from the past backwards. So I'm gonna go with a 4.0 pick here right now. And I am going to select a show that backs up. This will be our first time that we are picking a show from the same year. So this is a notable moment here.
Notable moment.
A notable moment where we are showcasing preeminence of one year. This is a year that we all speak wonders about, hold in extremely high regard. A show that was scheduled to be one place and then became another place, and a show that hey, another show I was supposed to be at. I had tickets to Tahoe and then sold them because I had 40 guests coming out for the first Dick's since COVID, and I was like, I can't host and travel to California.
You
So I
could've.
watched this on my couch. I couldn't. I could have, but I couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a better man could have. I couldn't. So I watched this from my couch and just said fuck about 100 times in, both joyful and also angry ways. But this is a show that still holds up today. The jamming, particularly in set 2, particularly in a single song that most people are conditioned to not like, including members of Fish. If you've seen the scene where Trey plays this for Paige in Between Me and My Mind, that is a kidnapping video. Okay,
Yeah.
You're being held hostage.
So true.
There's no way that Paige is like condoning
He's
the
like-
cameras in there watching his first reaction to this. And this is kind of the perfect song to go 50 minutes. This is 8/31/2021. I guess this is also my second 8/31 pick. So go figure.
Ooh.
This show is monumental. We get a glide. This isn't the first glide since Coventry. No, this is the first glide in a long time, though. I'm pulling up the set
First
list
slide
here.
since 2018 or since 12/30/18.
Since 12/30/18. Thank you. Okay,
That was
so
the first one
it's
since
a
95. Mhm.
no wait, the
No,
first
Glide
glide.
2. Sorry. I'm thinking
This
of
is
Glide
the first glide since 7/9/14. So wait, no. This is the first glide since 7/14/19. So 36 shows only. I was way off in terms of there were more times it was played in 3.0, but it has not been played since. But still, glide into Forbin's Mockingbird, a huge Wolfman's, big stash, like legit stash, huge stash. 47-minute Soul Planet into the final hurrah. The return of Axilla Part 2 for the first time since December 31st, 1995, 850 shows. Tila into Harry Hood to end the second set, and then Fee and Wilson in the encore. This is just a phenomenal show. Huge jams, awesome stuff. I got more I could say, but I got nothing else. What do you got, RJ?
I
do
got
you gotta
nothing
say?
else either. I mean, this is just I think to have the Tahoe rescheduled, moved, and then have them really kind of consciously put effort into making this like a really special show is really cool. And I feel like at the coming back from COVID, remember, like, so many things were postponed and canceled, and it was like, what's going to happen? And the fact that I don't know, it felt like a really special moment. Like, I was so far away from it physically, but to me, it was like, it was just cool that they kind of like, it felt very like not serious, but I feel like they took the responsibility seriously of like all these people had to reschedule, and all these people's, it was just like, let's just like have fun, but also like deliver something really special in a way that they don't always do that necessarily. I think there's oftentimes like a show just happens when it happens, and it's like, sorry, now we're gonna just do the show.
Yeah, like it's just like day 4 Mondegreen, like things just happen.
That's a good example. I didn't think about that, but good example, really good
We're
example.
getting all the jokes in right now, guys.
Things
We're
just
now at 8
happen.
minutes.
You
into
could
the
make it
draft.
special. You could make it special where a show can just happen. Yeah.
What's really amazing to me is that the next night they did it again. It's just
Right.
like,
I know.
just doesn't.
21 was so exciting. Like whenever I think about this summer, I just remember how absolutely thrilling it was when they came back and were so good. Like, it was just so exciting. It was like, what's actually happening? Like, I remember just streaming so many of these shows and being like, oh my God, like Fish is like really playing so well. And it was just after so many things being shut down and people wearing masks at shows, like it was just such a crazy time, but Fish was ripping, and this show is so fun and thrilling. And some of the set listing is just, glide Forbins into Mockingbird. Like, yeah, you can start a show that way, guys. Like, that is, do that, please.
Yep. So, okay. What are we doing next? Is Megan going? Is Megan in?
Megan's going. So I will read just quickly our 10 shows that we have selected thus far. 10/21/21, 12/30 18, 6/14 2000, 7/27/14, 2/28 2003, 8/31/12, 8/22/15, 7/27/25, 7/25/17, and 8/31/21. We have 15 picks that we have to make in 40 minutes.
Yep.
So we got to go.
Okay, so we got 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes per pick. Meg, you're on the clock.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Actually, you know
so
what? Should we? Wouldn't it be fun if we had a clock live, or would that make it more stressful?
More stressful.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it, but
Just wonder if it's even a thing we could do. Okay, just keep talking. I'm just gonna, just in case.
okay, so this is a show that I really want on there because I listened to the show again and I was just absolutely floored. And I feel like this is also an important moment in their history too. I have to have 8203 from It. I think that this Waves is my favorite jam from It. And also Set 3 is I just listened to this the other day and it is so perfect. The flow is just so unbelievable. Spread It Round, like, oh my God. I mean, the jams for this whole entire set are incredible, but then they get to spread it round and they're playing like this happy kind of sweet rock song, but then they're doing this really demented jam off it. It's so good. So I want to have this show on there.
Okay, Brian, you have 30 minutes to respond.
It night one was on my list. This is a perfect Fish show. You know how I feel about the 7/29/03 to 8/3/03 run. This is a required listen for all Fish fans, and I think is one of the more just amazing Fish shows that's ever been played. That third set flows so nicely. The waves and then the tower jam at the end of it. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So now we have probably two 6-hour listening experiences on the list so far. So,
You're welcome, everybody.
yeah, everyone have fun. Yeah, great.
What do you think about this show, RJ? Are you a fan of it?
Yeah, I think this summer has grown on me over time. I think my favorite jams of summer 03 strangely are like, different parts of the tour, but I think as a listening experience, this should definitely be on the list. No question. And I think all of it is just incredible.
I know 8/3 is so good too. I mean, it's
8/3 is so good. I mean, it's
Amazing
like
festival.
something's wrong with, like, this is a me thing that, like, the 7/15 Mr. Completely is probably my favorite jam of that summer.
Yeah.
Just because it's just so wild and so like rhythmic and but so it's like my fault that this is not my favorite show of the summer tour, but I think it needs to be on the list, and I'm surprised it like made it to number 11. But I think because we're not ranking them in order, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got Type 2 Yamar, second song of the festival, Into Runaway Jam, huge Reba, wild.
Oh, yeah.
Reba, very 2000.
Didn't even mention that.
Big Birds of a Feather, nice jam out of Meat Stick. Limb by Limbs, sneaky if you're going to listen to a standard song in 2003 across the tour, that is the song to pick. Every jam is amazing. It's somehow like it's a long first set, even though there's only like 8 songs played, because they just kept stretching everything out. Did I say the Tower Jam? Because the Tower Jam.
Yeah.
Tower Jam.
Yeah. Space noise.
Jam.
Space noise for hours. Let's go. Okay. All right. I got 2 picks. Is that how it works?
You got 2 picks. That's a snake draft, bro.
All right. I'm going to go. I don't know if I should do this. If I do this, this might fuck up someone else.
Who can you fuck up?
What? Why? It's not a competition.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm just going to do this. I think this is I'm not like one for like pre-planned, we've talked about this a lot over the years about, I'm not going to bring everything back to the Providence Bowie, but if you think about the Providence Bowie, as we're trying to be fast, the organic nature of the feeling of the middle of that jam is something that it's why it's my favorite thing that they've ever done. It's like it's what makes me love moments like the 22803 tweezer or the Dicks Undermine, like these moments where it just feels completely completely unique. So this show kind of goes against that because I think that this was such an intentionally crafted show. Again, a tour closer where they had to, not had to, but did deliver on such a level with bust outs and with the jam that I think is still like one of the most interesting multifaceted jams they've ever played. I think if it was just for the second set, it probably wouldn't make the list. But given that you have, a Landlady bust out, Olivia's Pool bust out, you have a Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday bust out, you have a Strange Design bust out, you have all this shit happening. And then, the story of this 7/14/2019 Ruby Waves is that, which I heard from Trey directly, is that, they were planning on jamming the Mercury. That was like the idea, was like tour closer, let's like jam the and it just like didn't come together. And the Ruby Waves definitely did come together in a way that, it's 38 minutes. Just the fact that there's like this kind of like power metal moment after a reggae kind of segment into this like ambient space and all to these like huge finale. This jam is like on its own a masterpiece, but I think that with all the bust outs, with the way that the end of this tour kind of wound down, this show is just absolutely has to be on the list in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I texted a friend in the middle when I was listening to the Ruby Waves that I think that this jam was once so overrated that it's now underrated. For a period in time, it was this, the Tahoe Tweezer, the stuff from Jam Filled Night, and the 12/30/19 Tweezer were the only kind of 30-minute jams that we got post 2.0. And they had to carry a lot of weight in that sort of standpoint. And now it's much more commonplace. And I think you can now listen to this Ruby Waves without the like hype around it. It's more, what is the music? And man, those last 15, 20 minutes around the time that they discover kind of the Ghost of the Forest segment, like you said, there's just so much weirdness, so many chances being taken, so much risk in that playing. And then, you add into that, the first set is essentially a bust out fest. And the second set has Catapults, You Enjoy Myself, Iculus, like all this kind of weird stuff everywhere. It's fascinating stuff. And very rare to get a show like this. Very rare.
Yeah.
It's a really special show. I think it has to be on there. I have gone back and forth about 12:30 over this show. Just there's a flow to 12:30. There's a symmetry to the second set. There's that Tweezer jam is just one of my favorite jams of all time. And the Ruby Waves, I agree, absolutely insane. But I do think that there's an argument to be made where these shows compete against each other for the spot. And I agree with this pick, but I definitely think that 12:30 is, it's a little bit of a joke because I love it so much, but it really, when you look back at the show, there's so much in that show that is absolutely beautifully done. And yeah, so I think I'm down with this pick. I totally support it. I think the show's incredible. I think it has more kind of vibrancy and wildness to it and like unpredictability. And I think the 12/30/19 show is more measured in a way, and it has more kind of like historic nods. And there's a real sense of like them knowing where they are 25 years after the first time they've ever played at MSG, and opening up with Wilson as a nod back to that, and then playing these like great songs that never get played, like Karina and Curtis Lowe in the first set. You've got an incredible Blaze On in the first set. And then you have the second set that I think flows incredibly well and is super cool in the way that it's laid out. It's so symmetrical and just has that Tweezer jam. But I get it. I understand why you picked this one. I just had to have a little moment.
Yeah, there's no, it's not like we can only have one 2019 show. We could definitely only have two if we were going to have more than one.
Yes.
But
these two shows are the potential.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't know if you need both of them though. I kind of want to see how the list shakes out.
I think that's fair. That's a fair point. But that's kind of like I think this show is just with the bust.
Are you
out time of
changing your
Jam is
pick to
insane.
12:30, RJ?
Me? No. I'm just saying. I'm saying that if Meg later, if as we get further along, if she thinks this belongs on the top 25, then like,
No, for
what are
sure.
you-
Yeah.
who am I to- who
I
am I to
just,
stop you?
I feel like with 12, 30, 18, 12, 7, 14, 19, I'm unsure if we need 12, 30, and 19 on there. I'm
Mhm.
going to see,
Well, with my next pick, I just want to tell you guys that I'm really having a hard time with 2013 because I think it's one of the most important years of Fish of the century, but at the same time, like I don't know that there is a show from 2013 that I would necessarily put up there, and I feel like, and I think when we did our top tours episode, maybe we all came away with a little bit like maybe this tour wasn't quite as musically amazing as we thought it was at the time, but I don't like so I'm leaving 2013 for now because I don't really know I don't want to make a pick that I think would end up just being me choosing one of my favorite jams. So I just want you to know that I'm leaving 2013 alone for one of you guys to deal with because I don't have the wherewithal to do that right now.
I
I'll
have
deal
one
with it
on
as
my
we get-
list, but I want to see what
I have
you-
one on my
what you guys think.
list, and it's also a bit surprising to me that this is the one I landed on.
Mm.
As I kind of did my very, hyper neurotic review process for this. But I agree with you. Listening back to 2013 during that period, and even during this exercise, there's a foundational aspect to those jams that sounded really revolutionary at the time, and they've just done so much more since then. And it's also like they don't play with a lot of effects, so like the weird sounds that you get in jamming today that propels jams forward don't really happen.
Mm.
But we've got limited time, so you need to make your 13th pick. Otherwise, we're just going to talk about 2013 for the remainder of this podcast.
All right. So for this one, we'll go back to MSG I'm just doing this for the AC/DC bag jam in the second set because that's all that really happened. I think we have to put 12, 31, 23 on the list. Like I think
Yes.
for the lore, for the history, for the music too itself, but just the production, the importance of this to everyone who was there, the fact that it was the #1 ranked Fish show of all time for some time on Fishnet, and they had to close the website due to that.
It shut down Fish.net. Like
Shut down Fish.net. But also, like, what an interesting thing to have that gag set actually have really good music alongside, an amazing story that goes back to the very beginning. So that's, I don't know, there's much more to say about that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever thought that they would play Gamehenge again, and then they played Gamehenge again on their 40th anniversary. I think it's do I go back and listen to this show all the time? No, but it also has a flow to the Gamehenge narration that I think you would want to listen to multiple times again, and plus the AC/DC bag jam in the middle of there. It's very, very special. I kept my son up until midnight, and it was the first time he read the Fish Companion while watching the show with me, which is easily one of like the top, I don't know, 200 moments in my life, something like that. I don't know, top 100. Like really, really incredible
it was a top
stuff.
moment. It was exciting.
Very, very good moment. And yeah, Fish did something I think people would have never thought they would have done again, which was really special.
Yeah, that was a night when my kids said to me, "Oh, Mom, I'm sorry you're here with us. You really should have been there." So even they knew I should have been there for that.
F Dude says you got to have it.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
F Dude says the drop into the man who stepped in yesterday from Harpu as an all-time
Yeah.
Fish moment. For the novelty, as VT to boot says, I think that we all acknowledge like this is different from a lot of other shows, but it has to be there.
Yeah, I mean, when people
also
are crying on the floor, you gotta have it in there.
I also really like
right.
I like the backing vocals, I like the just kind of like one-time
Broadway?
nature of all of it.
I loved it.
The
You gotta
Wilson
love
vocals
it.
are great.
So
They're just
killer.
so
That
fun.
moment when the electronic rhombus rises, like, come on, that is
Come on.
just, and you just like you immediately, because the year before they had done that really cool Fish historical review, on 12/31/22, and that was like, oh wow, they've like taken past Fish gags and turn them into Broadway production. You had like 40 different Frenchies running around on stage, and you had kind of this hint that 2023 was going to be special. But then to see that type of, like, they've just gotten so good in the relationship with Broadway that, like, to produce Gamehenge the way they always were meant to produce it, come on.
Legendary.
Legendary.
Okay. Legendary.
All right,
We're
Meg,
keeping
you've
it,
got-
keeping it moving with legends.
Okay, keeping it moving. I'm actually going to pick another show from 2021 and from summer 2021. There's a show, I think we also have to have this venue on here because it's such a legendary Phish venue. I think we got to have a Deer Creek show on here. So I think we got to have 8/6/21. There's solid connected playing throughout. You've got a really strong opener with Carini, Wolfman, Sand, but then you have 2 almost 30-minute jams in set 2. The Deer Creek Simple, you've got a 27-minute Blaze On. It's Sanity Encore. Just one of those shows that totally blew my mind this summer of 2021.
Yeah, I debated for a long time keeping this on my list. I ultimately dropped it because I just felt like I had so much 2021, but I think everything you said is right in line. Those two jams are darkly different from each other and somehow are just as epic. Like, you have this beautiful train-led jam, huge hose moment in the Blaze On, and then 2 songs later you get this destructive, wild, bizarre, simple. Just set the template for what was about to come. And you mentioned this during the 8/31/21 segment, that everyone was thankful for them to be back, but them being back and then playing this well, oh my God.
It's so crazy. I also have too much 21 on here, but it's a really good year of Phish.
It's a really good year.
I don't know.
Yeah, keep it going. Let's go. 8/6/21.
Let's go.
Great show.
That set really reestablished the multiple 20-minute jams in a set. Also a Mount Rushmore Simple. Don't get ahead of us, F dude. Come on. We haven't done Mount Rushmore Simple yet. What are we doing? Pick 14, 8/6/2021. All right. I am up with pick 15. And okay. I'm going to do something that needs to be done. Am I going to do this? Am I really going to do this? Yeah. I didn't expect there to be 2 shows from this year, but lo and behold, there are 2 shows from this year. And I think if you're going to have one of these shows, you do have to have the other, because they show the yin and yang of the Phish experience at its best. On some nights, it's wild and partying and fun and anything goes, and it's all about joy. And on other nights, it's cerebral and brooding and weird and looking at things from a completely different perspective of existence. And this is that night, which is where my heart leans. And I think that this is a show that, when it happened in the moment, it felt like one of the serious shows of the 3.0 era, and really reestablished that this band wasn't just about a fun, wild experience. We heard a lot of really great songs, and then some cool jams happened here and there, but like, you could go to Phish and hear music you weren't hearing elsewhere. And this is, I think, a foreshadowing show in a lot of cases. This is 7/13/14 from Randall's Island, night 3 of that summer tour's run, which is, I believe, the only 3 shows they've ever played at Randall's Island to date.
Yes.
Another in the long line of shows I could have been at that I wasn't at. I was at night 2, and then opted to go to a barbecue in New Jersey with some of my wife's friends on night 3, which was really fun. We had like a killer bags tournament. Fuck, it was awesome. Drank some like heady beers. And then I checked my phone and they were still playing Chalk Dust. And I sat around the fire with my buddy, who we went to night 2 together. We were both like, this sounds like 2.0 Phish right now. What is happening? It's like literally 20 miles that way. But amazing show, the Chalk Dust. They start jamming the Chalk Dust like 3.5 minutes into the song. Like Trey has no interest in even playing the Choctaw solo. They're just off and jamming. The light is like 11 minutes of deconstructed acid jazz. The tweezer is euphoric. Even though the fourth quarter kind of is mailed in, nobody would ever question them over that because they earned it entirely. One of my favorite YouTubes to watch. Great filming on this. Just amazing stuff.
Yeah, I had just moved back from living abroad, and this was my first Phish show back. And I was like, wow, I'm back. And Phish rules. It was so fun. Such a fun show to be at. And Randall's Island is such an undervalued place. They need to go back there. It's absolutely great. And it's such a fun venue. It's hard to get to, but once you're there, it's unbelievable. There were like easy bathrooms everywhere, easy drinks everywhere. It was just a very, very cool vibe and unbelievable chalk dust.
It's great. What's the yang, Brian?
It's this and Merriweather. I feel like they're the two sides.
Oh,
of
I
the
see.
Phish.
Okay, I
Right.
thought your next one was going to be.
No.
Okay.
The Yang,
Okay,
like
got it.
it was like 2 weeks
Of
apart,
that
and it
summer.
was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
these are
yeah,
two completely different sides of Phish, just
Yeah.
as good.
Show's awesome. Those jams are. It's just that set is that. It's awesome. Great. Perfect.
In some cases, I feel like they like have never played anything that sounds like the back half of the Chalk Dust since then. Like it's just the combination of Trey's weird effects and Paige playing the baby grand. Like just that's. I don't want to bring up any like bad topics here, but like that sounds like the Victor disc to me. Okay, that's it right there.
I love the Victor disc. Wow.
Yeah, I know you do. Very aware.
What's up, Scott? What's up, Jason? BT to boot, Ev Dude. Look at all these people tuning in for our draft, our live draft. We are on a time limit. I'm gonna actually start putting a timer up because you guys are.
We're going way too
You guys
hard.
are doing podcasting.
Should we take a break before the final
Nope.
10 picks of the draft? Nope. Break this one.
No break.
Sponsors be damned.
No. There
right.
was enough. There was enough silence earlier. They probably already heard a break. Those who need it.
Oh, you got it. Okay. Sorry for those of you who heard a
No,
commercial.
please.
We're like, I didn't want
Thank
to
you.
have to fast forward. I hate fast forwarding. All right. I'm going to make a pick right now that may piss some people off and may require me to do some explanation here. I've gotten some pushback from my trusted confidants when I set my 25 show list out. And I had to do some explaining, and I might have to do some explaining here, and I may catch some flack. And, in a typical draft, maybe this is the pick that loses me because this is the too deep in the woods Phish listening. But, that's
The
what I'm
whipping
here for.
post moment.
This is the 85 whipping post for you all of the top 25 tours or top 25 shows draft. But I don't think that Phish 3.0 exists without this show in the way that it is now. This show followed one of the monumental moments of early 3.0 and features one of the strongest first sets I think that they have ever played, and that is ever for their entire career played. It features some dynamic playing from one Mr. Trey Anastasio in extended versions of songs that don't fully leave into type 2, but are just like perfectly played from a riffing standpoint. You have a jam in this first set that expands upon the ideas of the jam from the evening before. That was one of the more important moments in Phish 3.0. And then in the second set, you get incredible flow. You get a lot of cool play with silence. You get really good festival Phish. You get, a nod to the holiday, a nod to the overall festival in and of itself. And that is 7/3/2011, night 3 from Super Bowl. This is a show I've always felt strongly since it happened that it is one of the most important Phish shows of the pre-fuck your face period. And I think that without a show like this, we just don't if you don't get the results of a show like this where they play as well as they did, particularly throughout set 1, I don't think that they take the kind of chances they do in August 2011 or at Dick's 2011. These shows are important for what comes after. So huge stand for this show, and I want it to be on this overall list.
I like that. I feel like it's definitely undervalued for me. I haven't gone back to this enough, and I will now. So I appreciate you bringing it on there. And I do think that anytime you get a first set like this, it's killer.
Yeah. I appreciate you highlighting it, Brian. I would not have, and that's because of me, not you. So thank you for doing that
Yeah.
for our community.
I'm here for the community. I'm here for the community.
Sure are.
You really
That's
are.
my
Megan,
job.
Megan, where are you going next?
I'm actually going to go to a venue for the second time that I'm going to choose. And this show, I've always loved the show, but when I listened to the show again recently, I was like, my God, I'm going back to SPAC and I'm going to June 19th, 2004. My God. This
Wow.
I love this show. I love this show. I love this show. This a song I heard the Ocean sing, Into Piper, Into Cottage Abu, Limb by Limb Cavern. This is second set perfection. I love this jam. And I think this is like
Jeez.
a killer show to have on our list, something from 2004. Weird time in the band's history, but I think this show stands out.
Woo. Man. Yeah. I resisted the urge. I did not put this in my top 25, but I'm so thankful you did because of all the reasons you listed. Just amazing jamming, very dark period in Fish history for obvious reasons. I think that this and the following night are the two bright spots of that entire year and the two shows that hold up. And I think you're absolutely right. We kind of have to have those on here. That 32-minute Piper is stunning. The song I heard the Ocean sing, the abstract jamming in Wolfman's and Walls of the Cave. It's beautiful stuff. Even as it's very rough.
I mean, listening to a song I heard the Ocean sing, Into Piper is I think it's incredible. I love it. I think it's great jamming. RJ,
I say go.
you
You go.
disagree?
You go. You guys go with your Summer of 4. I mean, I've done it. I think it's, I'm happy for the inclusion of an 04 show.
I think if we're thinking about scope and depth, we gotta think about it.
I think you're right. I think you're ultimately right. I would love to go back to the episode where we featured these two shows, and I did everything I could to be like, "Come on, guys, it's still good music." This feels like validation, so we're here.
Yeah. I think it's like more on the person than on the, it's more on me than on anyone. But I still I appreciate some gems. I like the SPAC Piper. I've heard of it. It's really good. Listen to it a bunch. I got no problems with it.
There's one thing when Trey is playing weird, bizarre, abstract riffs during this period, and then there's another where he tries to play a composed riff and then sing, and you're like, God, turn it off. What is going on?
Yeah, it's very true. Okay, so now where are we set? We're on 18.
RJ has a 6th and 7th pick.
Oh, all right.
Oh my God, we're getting close.
There's so many years that aren't represented yet, but I don't know if I'm ready for this emotionally, but I think I have to be. And we're running out of time. So
yeah.
Okay.
And we still have to make a pick together as a group, which
that's true.
may take 45 minutes in and of itself.
Okay. I think we'll just I'm going to do the second pick of 2000. We have one pick from 2000. I think I'll just do this because I did the Tweezer Fest. We've done a couple, Tweezer Fest. So I'll just go with the Moby Dick Fest, which is not really the representation of this show, but 7-Eleven 2000 Deer Creek is, I think, some of the finest of 2000, not just because it's really, fun and funny, but this feels like almost like the last time when they were all really when things were working well before the, the fall, which Rob Mitchum again documented so well this fall, 25 years later. But this was like the one of the last shows that I think really worked well and really was like, all right, this is like a great Fish show. There's some after this, but I feel like this represents that period of time.
Yeah, I went between this one and Darien Lake a lot. That was a hard call for me. I think I settled on Darien Lake, but this definitely was right up there too for me.
Yeah, this was right there for me with Darien Lake and 629 2000. Drink out there, everyone. I think this is ultimately, yeah, this is the show that lasts. The Chalk Dust Torture reprise, like all the aspects
Yeah.
of this show are right there.
Yeah, this was like all they went for it. They really went for it, and it's just like kind of it feels a little bit like the end of the road, but not in a depressing way like some of the fall shows.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Brian's out of here. Okay, so I got another one here. Megan, what do we do now? What do we do now?
I mean, it's tough because I have some, like a lot of my picks. I have a few. I have one from 2013 still on there that I'm not. I want to wait and see what Brian's is because
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like, I don't know. I listened back to it and I just didn't like, it didn't fully do it for me. I have one
Yeah.
from 2016 that I think there's some one
Should be
from
on
9.
there.
What are you thinking?
Well, I think there's something else from 17 that should go on there, and I can't decide if it should be the
Mm,
9/1/17, which I think should probably be on there, or or do we just go, or is 12/30/17 the right place to go after Jam Filled Night? Is there another Baker's Dozen show that belongs on here? I think there could be. I mean, we could
I
do
mean,
Powder Night,
Powder Night or the last night, but I always feel like the last night is like people love it. I was there. It was amazing, but I think musically Powdered is so much better. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean 12/30/17 is it's good.
Yeah.
It's
I was
good.
there. It was great.
Mhm.
The 9/1/17 show is, I don't know if we have enough Dick's representation. That is, I think, like an all-timer Dick's show, 5
Yeah.
song second set with that No Men's and Carini.
That No Men's Carini, yeah.
So I guess I'm on 17 and I'm taking I'm taking advice, Brian. I want your advice, Brian. I want to know whether if we're going 12/30/17 or 9/1/17. Let's just cut like between those two. Megan, you would choose 12/30.
I don't know actually. I mean, I listened to 12/30/17 recently and it's pretty unbelievable. But I mean 9/1's good too. I don't know. Brian, what do you think?
Brian, we can't hear you. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But you know what? What are we gonna do? I mean, do we have too many 12/30 shows? Also, no, you can't.
You
You
can't
can't look
because
at it.
there's one more that I want to.
There's too bad. There's just. Um. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I think Ev Dude's read it better, right? That 12/30 has the better set one.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a complete show, 12/30 just
All right.
yeah.
All right, Brian. Sorry, you lost your chance to influence me, Brian. But we're going with 12/30/17. Brian just chatted 9/1 exclamation point in the private chat and then left.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I think, yeah. I mean, yeah.
That is crazy.
That's a hard choice. The shows are really, I think, pretty close.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I think when Brian reappears, well, I'll let him have an argument. But let's
a
leave
real
it at there.
argument. Okay.
Okay. So what?
I
Megan, go ahead,
on-
Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
It's bias. I would have gone 9/1. My reason for going 9/1 is the 3-song suite in the second set plus all the front. I do think 12/30 has one of the strongest and one of the best set lists of all time. Plus, you get that huge Down with Disease and Steam in set 2. I think that the one negating point for 12/30 for me compared to 9/1 is there's a little bit more slop. But I think in the moment, 12/30/17 felt like a massive show. And it really starts to build off and continue this trend of 12/30s being the biggest night of the year. The idea of having a Mike's and a Tweezer so early in a show is just kind of absurd. I think I don't think it's a bad call. I don't know if I would have made it, but I think that what you're doing, because we probably we need another 2017 show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, that's
and
kind
we
of
and we were debating when you popped off, Brian, between like Powdered Night,
yeah.
9/1, 12/30. You know, people love the last night of the Baker's Dozen, but I don't think musically it's as strong as Powdered Night. So I don't know.
Agree.
The triumphant return to MSG is,
So funny.
Amazing gag.
so great gag.
So good.
All right. Well, there's still time. So let's who knows what's going to happen with the next 6 picks, but we're about to find out, Megan.
Is it my turn?
It's Meg's turn. Megan, you have 2 more individual picks, just as a heads up.
Okay. I need you both to help me kind of think about what years we need here, because I'm not so good at holding all of that in. So I want to kind of get an idea from you guys what years we're kind of needing or where our gaps are.
I think our biggest gap is 2013 right now. We don't have a single
Yeah.
2013 show. We have 2 2014, which I think if you had told me that before the draft, I would have. We only have 1 2015.
We have no 24.
We have no 24. We definitely need a 24. We only have 1 23. I think that's it in terms of like what we have. I think so. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more individual picks and a team pick. I think we need at least 1 2013, at least 1 more 2015, at least 1 24, and possibly 1 more 23. Outside of that, I have a few shows in scattered years that I would advocate for, but that's kind of where we are.
Okay, so I want to look at 24, and I want some input from you guys, because so there are 3 shows that I'm looking at from 24 that I have on my list. There's one that I've kind of decided not, 8/4/24, amazing show at Deer Creek, but the first set is a list of every of my most hated Phish songs played in a row. So I'm not going to pick that.
Which one? I'm sorry.
8/4/24.
Oh,
the Deer Creek show. It's literally every song I never want to hear at a Phish show played back to back. But the second set is so unbelievable, but as a complete show. But then I think there are 2 shows, and I think there's one clear that I think is better. But I think there's an argument for either one. And that is, I think, 8/30/24 from Dick's or 8/15/24 from Mondegreen. And, my heart kind of wants to pick Mondegreen as like a bit of a give back for all of the shade I give that festival, because I had the most unbelievable time. But 8/30/24 is like, I just listened to that set too today. Wow.
I went with 8/15 because I think it's a complete show. I think 8/30's only knock is set 1 gets a touch stale at times. Set 2, absolutely, especially those trio of songs to kick off set 2. I've never really seen anything like that. I've seen quite a bit of good Phish. If you guys don't know, 8/15 I think is the best show of 2024. I think it's one of the best shows that the band has ever played. You get an awesome set 1. Very cool 1.5 jams in great set listing, and then set 2, that segment to kick it off with the newest song jamming the way it did for the first time, I think is a really prominent moment.
Yeah, and that Wolfman's from the first set was so good, and it was just so exciting to be there. It was the first day of this festival. They haven't played a festival in so long, and vibes were just through the roof, and then to have them play that strong. I mean, I remember you made a whole separate tier on your ranking. You were just in your notes app, you were like, wow, this is like Mondegreen level. And yeah, this what's going through your mind just was absolutely incredible and so exciting. And I mean, the rest of the set's incredible too. This is a really great 4th quarter. So all right, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 8/15/24. Mondegreen, look at that.
Look at that.
Mondegreen is on the list. It has entered the chat and it is ready to roll. Okay. All right. Anything you want to say about that show, RJ?
Nope.
Was it one of your
No.
favorite webcasting experiences you've ever had too? Because
Nope.
I sure loved it.
Nope. Didn't
Remember
webcast at all, as usual.
we ordered pizza and we were hanging out, and I was like, this is it. This is living right here. LIVIN, you know? All right, I got 2 more picks to make. My last 2 picks here. So you better make them good, bro.
They're going to be fire. They're going to be so chopped. I want to act out
Blue
that.
Airhead.
I want to act out that skit so bad.
I was really into it. All right.
Mondegreen all grown up. Love it.
All right. I am going to right a wrong. This year has not been selected and needs to be selected. So we're going to go to 2013. I thought really hard about this one, guys. Okay. Let me walk you through it in the 40 seconds we have remaining with 5 more picks to make. I don't think anything from the summer. The Tahoe Tweezer is obviously the biggest moment, but I don't know of anyone who goes back and listens to that full show. It's all about the Tahoe Tweet. It's all about the Tweezer. I really love the summer tour. I don't think that there are any shows that fully stack up. The fall tour is where it's at, and the MSG run is where it's at. Even though summer tour 2013, I really enjoy. The fall tour has a lot of potentials. The potentials for me were 1020, 1025, 1027, 1029, and 11-1.
Not 1026.
Not 1026. I love the second set. I enjoy the first set. I don't think it has that like thing. I may be on my own island for 1025. I've had this argument with a dozen people, and I accept that I'm the only one who argues this. But I also had 1229 as my potential option. I really wrestled with this, and I listened to a lot of 2013 Phish as a result of it, which is always a fun thing to do. That fall tour, it may not go as deep as you want, but it really goes to some really fun places in the set listing rules. I ultimately settled on a show that I think summarizes what that tour was about, where the band's head was at, which was this 1 foot in the past, 1 foot towards the future, this muted celebration of their 30th anniversary, while also really looking ahead at like what's next and trying to utilize songs in really interesting places. And while on paper, I don't know if this necessarily has a set list that jumps out to anyone. I think it flows really well. It features some really phenomenal, brilliant type 2 jamming, especially in the second set. It reveals to us the band's next immediate plans. And it sounds like a band that has accomplished a massive goal that was really, really hard for them to do, and then come back the next night and be like, okay, this is what's next. And that is 11-1-2013 from Atlantic City. This has one of my favorite jams in the 3.0 era in the twist. Really cool light into Chalk Dust Torture midway through. Phenomenal and hilarious Makasupa Policeman. Back when George W. Bush was the worst president that we'd ever had. We're making jokes about him in 2013. We're all having a good time. It's got a really cool slave to end things, and then a Sally encore with a bunch of like callbacks to the remainder of the rest of the show. So awesome stuff. 11-1-13. Your guys' thoughts?
OG Kush.
I think this is
OG
the right.
Kush.
I think this is the right pick. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about the wingsuit debacle, which I was there for that show and this show, and I do think it was a little bit of a debacle. And I think this was just like let's just like have fun, and the music was so good, and there are better jams from 2013, I think, than what we heard in the show. But it was the show itself is great. It's such a release of all the pressure, and there's the under pressure teases there. Like, it's pretty direct. Like, this is this is us like kind of letting off steam, and it paid off
Yes.
really well. You know, I think it's the right choice. All those other ones are really good too, but I think it's the right choice for this year.
Yeah, I agree. I really like 1026, but I might be in the minority there. But I think
I love
would settle
1026.
this year.
I was like, if I'm gonna pick this, I'm gonna pick pretty much every show from Fall 13.
Right.
Right.
Fair,
I think that's fair.
That's
That
fair.
Drowned is amazing.
I
and
love
that
that
light-
Drowned so much. Come on. It's so good. Yeah, I just listening back to that is just, yeah, it's so good.
All right, so I have one more pick. This is my last individual pick. And so I'm going to do between two ferns here, as one would say.
Do we have anything from, we have something from Fall 21, but
Yes. All right, I'm guessing. Okay, RG, I'm gonna use both of you. I'm gonna pick the 2015 show. Because I think we have to have one more 2015 pick on here. We can't just have one show from 2015. I am between 731-15 and 812-15. The argument for 731, the Kill Devil Falls jam, which has a huge impact
Same.
on the band's jamming, in non-traditional jam vehicles. Really wild, bizarre, cool second set. Really fun, rockin' first set, Killer Ghost. 812-15 is this refined masterpiece. It's not as wild and bizarre as 731-15, but in turn you get this kind of perfect 5-song second set with outstanding jamming. Where would you guys go?
I had the Lakewood. I had 731-15.
You just wanted a Lakewood pick, is that it?
Yeah. No, this Kill Devil Falls is just it's
Phenomenal.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
My favorite
And-
jam of the year, like by far. And which is weird because I was at so many other shows, but it's just, there's something about this jam that just is, it's unbeatable for me. Even with the 8/7 jams, which I love, and everything we've already talked about with Magna Ball, like I think this Kill Devil Falls is like it pushes it personally. It's also like, I don't know. I think this show is great, although 812 is also perfect.
I think my
Talking about
gut
two
is going to
perfect
go
shows.
two
Yeah.
perfect shows, and I don't think we can have both, with a few others that we still need on this list. So I'm going to go with 731-15. There's no shade at you 812, and if one of you decided to take 812, I would be very happy with it. I think that there's an energy, there's a enthusiasm. This is kind of like in the same spirit as Merriweather Post Night 1, just like that zany fish that they were rediscovering plus jams. So I'm going to go with 731-15. Megan, you are next.
I'm up. Okay. So I'm a little torn about where to go. I have one show that I absolutely love that I have really highly ranked on my list that's not on here from a year that I don't think we have anything from. But I'm also I don't know. I'm just unsure if we need more from fall of 21 instead. Or if I should just go here. Because so the show I'm thinking about is 12/30/16.
That's on my list.
It's so good. And
It's really good.
It's really, really good. And kicks off this like 12/30, magic kind of that goes on all the way through 2019. And it's just listening back to the Tweezer Sparks Ghost Light. That is just unbelievable. And then Waiting is actually really beautiful too. I mean, I think even the first set too has got some really great stuff on it. You've got Carolina. What a fun way to open the show. I'm going to do this.
All right. Add that to an attendance bias pick I don't have to pick. Also, the show that I talked about on the Attendance Bias podcast. Shout out Brian Weinstein.
Is it really? Oh,
Uh-huh.
nice.
This
I
is one of my
remember that.
favorite shows I've ever been to. And yeah, the ghost where Trey channels the wheel is one of my favorite moments in all fish history. Amazing stuff.
Okay, good.
RJ, you were at this. No, you were not. You had just had your twins. You were not at this
Yep.
run.
I missed the run of I missed the holiday 2016 run. But I did want to nominate another show that I missed by 2 nights.
Okay,
Great.
do it.
Am I up?
You're
You're
up.
up.
Do I have the last 2 picks?
Yeah.
Well, you have the 8th pick, and then we do a team pick.
No. Oh, right. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Okay, we're just gonna go with 422. Missed this show by a night.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I think this has to be on there.
I
If
like
we're
it.
doing a 2022 show,
I agree.
like there's whales through the venue. I missed it, which means it's going to be great. But I mean, the part of it is the spectacle and the celebration and the postponement and the final kind of like the postponed celebration and then the final celebration. But also like really great show and something that it was like a delayed gratification show that I think ultimately delivered in a way that those other MSG shows didn't quite as much. So I think this has to be on the list.
I love that you picked this. This wasn't on my list, but I'm really glad that you did because this was a huge, huge moment. And the music is great from the show. And it was just being in this show was one of my favorite fish experiences ever. So yeah. Killer.
Brian, are you okay with this?
Quadraphonic Tomplay.
this, yeah, 100%. I wanted this on my top 25. It didn't fit with the way I constructed it, so it was on my honorable mentions. But I listened back to the Set Yourself Free and Fuego this morning, and dude, they are so good. There is another pathway where 2022 fish is just as good as 2021 and 2023 and 2024 and 2025, and we can stop this ugly stepchild nature that we treat 2022 fish with. And the third set for like relatively little jamming is it flows really nicely. The whale, exhibit that you get throughout it is really intuitive, and it like ties the thread back to 1993. It's really cool stuff. I'm so into this.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and listen to this. I haven't listened to the show in a really long time.
It's good.
I think if we're doing 2022, like this should be it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree completely. Okay.
This is our group choice.
All right. So I'm doing a little bit of separation here of what we have versus don't have. So I just want to share this. Of my top 25 shows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are not on our list. Of those, I would argue, to kick things off, that we still need one more 2023 show.
Yeah,
personally,
I had one in mind
but
too.
I don't know if there's anything that you guys are thinking out loud.
I mean, I had 4/22/23 from Hollywood Bowl on my list. Unbelievable show.
I had considered that. That was on my honorable mentions. The 2 shows I had from 2023 were 417, the Berkeley Tweezer Simple, and 728, night 1 of the MSG run.
I
With
do love that show.
Wave of Hope, Cities, Ruby Waves, Plasma, Split Open and Melt. And Jason is reminding us, thank you, Jason. Oh my goodness, that we have. Oh no, we have one 2023 show. Yes.
Yeah, we already
12/31,
had. It's right. We already have. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank
I actually am so glad you said 7/28 because that was that show is unbelievable from start to finish. I think that first set, another first set that I walked off the floor and was like, actually, what is happening? Like everybody was going crazy because of how strong that was. Opening with Evening Song and then going to Wave of Hope. That Wave of Hope was so good. And then that Cities. This is just a killer first set. Even if it ends with My Soul, it's okay. And then the second set is amazing too. Plasma, Ruby Waves, Mountains, awesome Melt. Yeah. Good Times, Bad Times, Encore.
That is my pick for the best show of 2023, which is a really strong year. RJ, are you able to hear us and comment at this point? I know that RJ is on his way to drop his son off at basketball practice. This is how committed we are to the pod. He is.
I mean, I'm supposed to be gone too. We're really here.
We are.
I'm here. I appreciate all the. I think if I were to choose, I would choose the Greek because of that segment, but I'm not going to stand in the way of this pick.
I'm down for either.
Really, before we make this official, I just want to read you guys the shows that I have on my top 25 list that we did not draft, just to see if this joggles any thoughts on what we should be including. 8-12-15, 9-4-16, 9-1-17, 12-30-19, the two 2023 shows, 4-17 and 7-28, and then our most recent show, 9-13-25. Are we leaving anything off there that we can't, that we should have?
You know, I stand for 12-30-19, but I also feel like I'd be down for a different one for one of the 2023 picks we talked about.
Yeah. I mean, the Greek set is like so hard to argue against, but I don't know. It's a segment, you know, versus like, is the whole show worthy? I don't know. I just don't know.
The biggest argument against it is that the first set did not land well with a few of us when it was happening. And then they came out and they opened with My Soul, and I almost took the webcast off. And then they played 60 minutes of Brilliant Fish. And now when I go back, I like the first set more. But I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, 4-song second set is tough to argue with. The show does open with a curtain width too. Come on. But there's some other stuff in here that's, you know.
Second quarter is pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
Which I guess is potentially true of 7-28, but I think that's raised by a lot of what's around it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing as good in the first set of 4-17 as Wave of Hope and Cities. But the second set of 4-17 is bigger than the second set of 7-28.
This is tough. I mean, I think RJ does have a point about this second set at the Greek. I mean, at the Greek. I mean, it was a pretty big deal when it happened. It felt really
and those
huge.
things weren't happening even then.
Yeah.
60 minutes of Fish jamming continuously. Yeah. That's now a fairly regular thing to get a 65, 70 minute like suite of music, which is like 3 20+ minute long jams. Like that happens, that 8:30-24, that doesn't happen, I don't think, without this.
Yeah.
I mean, it caused Brian to have to rejigger how he does his ratings, you know, like it introduced the idea of, you know, multi-song segments qualifying for jam rankings, which I think is important.
This is true. It had a big impact, created a big riff in my relationship with Ryan Storm that we still have not fully patched together.
Still happening.
I had to retire from bracket analysis and just move fully into note analysis. Let me pause really quick and just ask you guys. We have 0 shows on this list from 2009 or 2010. Is that a problem?
We're going to get some blowback. We're going to get a little bit of blowback.
Yeah, but I mean, 2009. I mean, there's one show that I had on here from 2009, and that was the Hartford show from 8-14. That was the only thing that was on my like longer list. It didn't make my top list, but it was on my longer list. for
Same.
consideration. So that was the only
Nothing
one that I considered.
nothing from those 2 years made my top 25, but I just want to read these shows. 8709 from the Gorge. That's got the
Yeah.
Big Sally, first really great light jam, huge gin into hood. 814, 627 Merriweather, one of the early Never Miss a Sunday shows. Huge Piper, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Ghost, Inset 2, Crazy Meat Stick gimmickry. And then 1020 2010, 15 years ago tonight from Gayutica, or from Utica, the Gayutica show,
We're
which
getting a lot of calls for that in the chat.
Maybe we just give the fans what they want, you know?
so no more 2023 and we give them 10 2010.
I don't know. It's hard.
I mean, it is. Yeah. I mean,
The third quarter of 10 2010 is basically an argument against it. But then there's this really cool, bizarre final suite of Split Open and Melt at the end.
I think we got to do. I guess we got to follow You got to follow your heart, Brian. It's your creation. It's your vision. It's your dream to do this draft, and we've almost fulfilled your lifelong dream. So I think you got to follow your.
My lifelong dream.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
putting so
I'm
much
cool with
pressure on
that.
me here.
You know, we're sitting here. We're in Fish Inc. You know, we're in our rooms. We've come together at the conference table, but we're ready to. You know, we're all going to get behind your choice. I mean, my gut is to go to over 2003, 23 over 09 and 10. But
Yeah, same.
Okay. I'm gonna let's do that.
yeah, sorry, chat. You're fired. but
So fire. Not chopped at all. Definitely not cooked, especially when they're cooked.
so fire. Especially when.
What do we think? Tweezer or MSG? On
I
the
mean,
count
if
of
we're
three,
thinking,
say your pick. 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to
MSG.
work when I say 3. You guys just answer and then we go with the majority pick. 1, 2, 3.
MSG.
RJ, you're muted. I can't hear you.
I
I
mean,
think
I'm just
RJ
gonna.
wants the tweezer.
Yeah, I would go Greeks.
Oh, so now I have to decide between the two of you. This is
Yep.
not a team pick.
Yeah.
I just want you to know I'm fine with anything. I truly am, and all 3 kids in my car are also fine with it.
I hope that they are. All right. One last analysis here before we make the pick. Okay. Tweezer reprise.
I mean, we got a lot of tweezer up on the board,
But
but that's because it rules. So
Tweezer. Is there a tweezer in that? I think there is a tweezer. Tweezer.
that's our takeaway: is that the best shows have tweezer. in them.
Tweezer. You know, I live and die on these. This is, I think, the best show of 2023. So I'm going to make the call ultimately here. 7/28, 2023 is our final pick.
It's a better overall show.
I'm sorry, RJ. I'm sorry to RJ's
Oh,
children.
great.
I'm sorry to everyone in the chat who is begging me to put 09 shows. I love you all. I see you. We're right there. The love for 09, 2010 Fish and the importance of it. I'm right there with you guys. Where we're at right now, we're going 7/28, 2023 as our 25th pick, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
What are
picks
you
from MSG.
counting?
7 picks from
7
MSG.
MSG
which
picks,
is-
and someone on this call won't let us do an MSG draft. That is crazy. When 7 of the best shows of the century have been played in this venue.
We may have earned it after today's. We'll see. We'll have to see what happened. But
Amazing.
so I'm going to read quickly through our overall picks here just so that everyone can know where to give us shit. We will release the image on
Yeah.
social media here shortly of what our final picks were here for the top 25 shows of the 21st century draft. We want your feedback. We want your input. We want your thoughts, your analysis, your anger, your frustration, your praise. Bring it to us. We're here for it. We love it. 10/28/21, 12/30/18, 6/14/2000, 7/27/14, 2/28/03, 8/31/12, 8/22/15, 7/27/25, 7/25/17, 7/14/19, 8/2/03, 8/31/21, 12/31/23, 8/6/21, 7/13/14, 7/11/2000, 6/19/2004, 7/3/11, 12/30/17, 8/15/24, 11/1/13, 4/22/22, 12/30/16, 7/31/15, and finally 7/28/2023. I hope you all have enjoyed this draft. I know I have. This has been a really fun draft. It's a different vibe to have fun on these drafts, but we're having fun. We're having a good time. Camaraderie. We're sharing all together. Any last thoughts that you guys have? Any shows that you feel like should have been here and it's not here?
No, I'm really excited about this list. I want to get my head around it. I want to see it chronologically, but I'm going to organize it like that when I put it out on socials, because this is pretty epic and was so exciting to go through this process. It was really fun. I used a lot of my notes from the top tours when we did that series, and it was just really fun to go through and see what everybody's voted on Fishnet and shows that I've always loved and put them up against each other. It was exhausting in the best way. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun doing this. Go ahead, RJ.
I was just gonna say that I don't think there's any shows missing that.
Bro, it's fun.
Well, there's arguments we could make, but I'm really happy with the list. I think that's what I'd say.
Yeah,
I think there are shows that I think individually we may have picked differently, but I think the really fun thing about this was doing it as a group and as a team and going 2 hours and 15 minutes deep into the world of the last 25 years of fish. I hope you all have enjoyed yourself. We will absolutely put this list out. Please come at us. We would be more than happy. Glenn Russell says, whew, this podcast barely fits on two Maxell XL 290s. Perfect reference. I love it. Come back to us with your thoughts. There's no animosity. This is one of those things. These are challenging things to do. I think we all recognized. I will just say my initial process was I went through every one of these shows and I made a long list, and it was like 79 shows. And as I was making it, I was like, oh, this won't be that hard. And then I was like, shit, now I have to cut this into a third. And already I've cut out a lot of shows that I know I really like that could be on this list. So I think this was a challenging, rewarding, fun exercise. I'm so thankful we all got to do this. And for the shows that didn't make it, hey, maybe when we do the top 50 shows of the first half of the 21st century in 25 years, at that point in time, we'll be able to include them.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for organizing this, Brian. It was super fun. And any chance that I have to think historically and make something for the archive is special. Glad we did it.
Likewise. All right. We will be back next week. Next week, we have back-to-back episodes coming out on Wednesday, the 29th. Up first, we will be doing the Fluffhead Rushmore. Fluffhead Rushmore. Very excited about that. I got my list waiting on you guys, and then we will collaborate together on our shared list. And then afterwards, a very special library card, blockbuster card crossover. We will be talking about the novel, The Shining by Mr. Stephen King, as well as the movie, The Shining by Mr. Stanley Kubrick. And we'll be comparing and contrasting. If you'd like to participate, this is a very quick read. Every time I pick it up, I seem to just crush 30 pages. Stephen King is like that. And I will say, my first time reading this novel, it is quite a bit different than the film The Shining, one of my favorite movies of all time. And I cannot recommend reading it because it deepens so much of the movie and counters some choices made in the movie. So very, very excited for that. That will be next Wednesday. And then the following week, just so you can be prepared from a Rushmore standpoint, we will be doing a Wave of Hope. So Fluffhead and a Wave of Hope are coming up before some very special episodes in the middle of November. We are very excited. Only a few weeks left here to podcast in 2025. So we got some fun stuff lined up, some big Rushmores to close out the year. So very, very stoked for that.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Got some fun stuff coming up.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone in the chat. You guys are just like hanging with us live, keeping us on our toes, giving us suggestions, giving us insights, giving us shade. It's amazing stuff. Cannot thank everyone enough for hanging here with us for these live episodes. For everyone listening from afar, we hope that you enjoyed this larger list of the 25 shows since Big Cypress, I guess the best way to say it. We will see you all next week for Fluffhead. See you then.
Thanks, everyone.
Go Mariners.